Peace and blessings, everybody. My name is Jamiel Alexander. I want to make sure I acknowledge, and we're gonna dive in and hear the voice of our youth-led change, the young experts. They're gonna do self intros. We had a little mix up, but shout out to Naya in Texas, Big Thought. You already know, Sister Queen. We are actually in team, so we will end recording this so we can kind of push it out. So the topic today, you already know, NAACP is all in when they talk about the civic engagement, and we're doing a thoughtful Thursday series. And I appreciate the youngins literally stepping up to be the first. Every Thursday, the NAACP York chapter is hosting something, whether it be with our partners and more importantly, youth-led change. So the youngest is actually going to say what they need to say. We're going to continue to listen. We're going to support and uplift. We're going to tap into self-intros. We did lose one person, but I'm about to text him and make sure he gets on the teams because of the Zooms. And we're here, y'all. No weapon formed against us will prosper, and we're rocking out. So we're going to do popcorn style. So y'all know who I am. I'm actually going to kick it over to Arlette, and then Arlette, you'll popcorn it over to the next person, and then we'll dive in. Peace and blessings, good people. You're on mute, Seth.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry, not the mute. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm really looking forward to hearing and learning from everyone, and this is such an important conversation to have. So I'm going to start off with who I am. My name is Arlette Morales. Right now, I'm in York, and I'm in York College of Pennsylvania right now. My parents brought me into the United States when I was 2 years old from Mexico, and my life has been what I fight for comes from the experience that I've had as an undocumented person in this country. I fight for immigrant rights, for especially undocumented people who don't have the opportunities and who are constantly having to fight through this system that isn't built for us. But throughout the advocating work that I've been doing, my major is criminal justice, and I hope to use my major to be able to combat the criminal justice system that we have right now that is so broken. And I advocate for Black Lives Matter. In 2020, me and a friend organized a big protest here in York that really opened the door for advocating and just telling people, putting it in their face that there is a problem and that there's a problem here in York, that we need to talk about these things. And that really opened the door for a lot of advocating work that came after us and before us even. And right now, like I said, I'm in college. I'm in my last year, and I'm a criminal justice major, like I said. And I don't know what the future looks like, but I do know that we're here and we're not going to stop fighting for our communities. And it's so important to have these conversations, like I said. And like I said, I'm really thankful to be here and looking forward to hear everyone's stories. Oh, and I pass this off to Ryan. I'm so happy you got the link and that you were able to join.
Yeah, so sorry guys. I don't think I was signed in or something. Something happened. So I did miss the question. If you can repeat it for me real quick.
Just a quick self intro, brother. Like, who you are, where you from. It's just love, however you want to do it.
Well, my name is Bryant Howard. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I got connected with Brother Jamil through a conference in Boston, and that was like one of the best conferences I've ever been to. And also, I met Ania. I don't know if it's Anaya or Ania.
It's Ania, but it's commonly misconstrued as Ania's good.
Yeah, so I met these two beautiful people. And I feel like that has liberated me a little bit more to like stand firm in my power as a Black man, and also as a Black gay man, just like liberating other young people because I really want to advocate for, my people. So like as as a youth leader for Youth Pride's organization in Minneapolis, it's kind of like I've created for myself to like create this own my mission to like help others who want to like create, because I am an artist as well. I'm a model and a photographer. I do a couple of different things, but all in all, I really just want to create opportunities for other youth who want to like create their own empire. Um, but yeah, that's a little bit about me and who I am and what I strive to do. I'm gonna popcorn it to whoever has not gone yet.
I'll just jump in. My name is Andre. I am 24 years old. I live in York, PA. I guess what I do every day is well, I have my own job right now, but my passion is sneaker reselling. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and I can see myself doing long term. With that business, not to make it too much of a sob story, but my kind of driving factor was growing up. I didn't have a whole bunch of Jordans growing up. I seen people in school all have Jordans and jazz like that, and my mom having two, three kids, at the time, depending on what time period of my life you're talking about, and supporting on her own, she couldn't really afford to buy me, the best things out there. So I know there's other people who are in the same position as me. So that's kind of what I seek to do. I want to give everyone, or at least as many people as possible, at least the opportunity to buy a pair of Jordans rather than it just being a dream of them. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays, like people die over Jordans. People get killed over them. So I want everyone to be able to enjoy something that they love rather than having to make a decision that they might regret for an item. You know what I mean? It's just kind of stuff like that.
I'll hop in. My name is Ania Hodges. I am from Dallas, Texas. Always repping Dallas. Love Dallas. I went to UNT Dallas, University of North Texas at Dallas, where I studied communications and political science. And I think that's what really I've always. So I work with Opportunity Youth. I work at Big Thought as well as a nonprofit here in Dallas, and we work with Opportunity Youth, which are youth who are young adults to like teenagers who are not connected in school or work. And here in Texas, we're like number 4 in that number of disconnected youth. And there's so many various reasons for that. But I think going to school in Oak Cliff, Dallas showed me just the many unnecessary barriers that young people face to just get through college. Like so many of our young people, like if you're the first generation to go to college, a lot of the friends that I made, they just didn't have nobody else to help them out throughout the process. When they get this crazy loan system and they don't have somebody to help them navigate that, they get these crazy loans, they don't know how to navigate it, they lose financial aid, they don't even know why, they don't know to go talk and ask somebody why. And so I've had so many friends that just dropped out because it was too confusing and too expensive to figure out the answers and fight for the answers that should have been easy. And it just always broke my heart to see someone who had such a dream, who had the willingness to step up and make something for themselves, but because of the system, they just couldn't. And then we blame that on them again and act like they didn't have the desire or didn't have the work ethic. And it's like, there are some things out here that are necessarily stopping people with so much ethic and so much passion to be more than where they came from. And that just, pissed me off. So I just continue to do the work here and advocate for other young people like me that are just trying to be more than their past. I love, what I'm saying, I love my background. I have a mom who came from Fifth Ward, Houston, and a dad who grew up right over here in DeSoto, and they've all just fought very hard to continually grow and grow so that I could have a better life. And so I don't want to stop the momentum by some construct made by somebody who don't care about me. So that's what I do.
Wow. Thank you all. And at the level of like between the passion and the frustration, we literally continue to learn and understand and push for what we love and value, right? So you talk about the values, understanding who you are, growing, one, thank you. I feel like I got the a fab four right now, you know what I mean? Because y'all holding it down and I want to kind of step back and you all step up. We're gonna dive into it. We already know it's a critical year. Every year is a critical year. Politics always start local, but you already know because it's a national platform now. There's a lot of confusion that's trying to be out there, but at the same time, NAACP being nonpartisan, but then understanding you all, myself, as far as the issues and even what you all stand for. Why vote? Why vote? Just, anybody can stop, pop off, however you want to do it. Why vote? Anybody?
Can I go first? Um, Voting. Um, at first, I kind of was a little bit ignorant to the fact of like voting because I grew up in a household where it's like just focus on yourself and your family. Like that's what really matters at the end of the day. And like as I grew older and kind of like had my own experiences with like the injustice system, just like even the school system, like I've learned like the changes don't really change unless we're like voting for the right people to make that change, you know. So that I started diving more deeper into like legislation. Um, well, that's why I like started getting into nonprofit work and wanting to like figure out like how can we like actually create a better environment for people in school? How can we create a better environment for people like me, like going to work? You know, there's so many different ways and there's so many different laws and legislations that are still like on the Constitution. You know, that still have not been changed for I don't know how long. You know, so I'm like, why is this happening? So like, it's because people don't vote. So like I really like had to come back to my family like y'all like understand like it's okay to be selfish and focus on you know our family and our legacy, but it is important that other people who don't have you know our privilege or whatever that we vote for those people who don't have voices, that we vote for those people who you know come after us, you know. So that's why I think voting is really important, especially now. Me being 23, 24, like I'm in that age range where I'm becoming like older or like you know my little sisters like they're still in school like there's so many reasons why I need to vote so like it's just like I think voting is very lucrative at the moment with you know the people that are in office right now. I'm not gonna say too much but yeah that's why I think voting is important.
Look, say what you need to say.
Hey.
I love it. Anybody else? Girl, y'all let it flow. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, so why I vote? I feel like I vote mainly because I have to. I have to for multiple reasons. So like he touched on to give a voice to people who don't have one. And also I feel like I have to vote because now more than ever, especially my age range, especially those of us who live in big electoral college states such as Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is like top 5 if I'm not mistaken. Our voice kind of not kind of our voice really matters. So it's when I was younger I also was naive. Okay, what does my vote mean? And I actually do remember one time I had a civics class where they went through the probability of your vote being a determining factor. So it's more likely for you to get hit by a car technically on your way to vote than for your vote to be a determining factor. However, once you're actually in that type of mindset, it kind of pushes you away from voting, which is, I feel like, kind of what they want you to do. They want the people who voted in the past to continue voting because they know they can kind of assume or project what's going to happen. But nowadays, you got young people like the 4 of us in here, where they weren't expecting us to vote. They were expecting us to believe our voice to not matter, and they're scared of us. So to be honest, they're scared of the fact that we are stepping up and voting. And now they're saying the votes are rigged and all this other stuff because they're scared of our generation. That is what it is.
I want to add to that, like people being scared to vote. So here in Tarrant County is close to Dallas County, right? It's like right beside it. It's between Dallas and Fort Worth. So in Tarrant County, for this election, they were trying to take away early voting polls in college campuses. And so if you go to UTA, if you go to TCC or any of those things, now all of a sudden all those students can't vote. Now think about why they would do that. Why would they have such a huge population? Some of the biggest, universities are in Tarrant County, and all of a sudden now nobody can vote there. And I forgot what the stupid excuse was. I think they were trying to say that it wasn't important or something like that, but it was like I think college students, check me on this, I'm gonna send the link later, but I think it was about 13% of votes were happening on college campuses. The ballots were sent on college campuses. And so 13% can sway a whole election. So what do you mean that it shouldn't be there? And then you have all these youth who are not at their house, so they can't go back to their, they can't get a ride. They're just on this college campus, and now they don't have access to a voting poll. So anyways, we advocated for that not to happen. They had a city council meeting. So many of the community showed up, and they had to rescind that because no, that don't make no sense. And so, like you're saying, they understand that young people, if they realize their power to really sway elections, then a lot of the stuff that they've been sort of building and things that are not working for us, and they know it's not working for us, which is why they don't want us to vote, then that's going to happen. And so I think some of the reason why I vote is because I realize that young people have the most need to, because I think there's some people who have enough social economic power to where votes don't really affect them. Like, for example, if we changed the level that you had to be at to get food stamps, if someone's making six figures, that will never matter to them. They don't care what that means. But the person who is depending on those food stamps, one vote, we raise it up 10,000, we raise it lower 10,000, that affects so many people. And so with us young people who are coming into this economy, and it is rough out here, I know, and are just trying to get our way in the world. And there's so many other factors like youth age out foster care, undocumented youth, like our sister here, like those things, those votes that seem menial to people who it doesn't apply to, that can be life changing for us. And so I think young people don't realize how much one vote can affect how they live their life. And so I think that's why I've been trying to, get my friends together. I got my sisters registered. Like, I don't think we realize how much this affects our day to day, because we are sadly the most vulnerable right now, especially post COVID.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. We are the most vulnerable. And from my experience as an undocumented person, like I said, like I talked a little bit about my story. I came here well, my parents brought me here when I was 2 years old, and I'm 22 now, and I can't vote. Undocumented people can't vote. So it is crucial and it's so important for me to really push those around me that do have that privilege to vote to use that vote, because it's a form of being able to use your voice, and it's truly so important to be able to have the people who do have that privilege to go out to vote. Like you talked about, voting is not accessible. People have work, people go to school, so it was truly really important, like you said, to have that poll at your school. And I hope that I'm pretty sure it did go through. Like the fight that you guys put up was worth it. And yeah, like I said, a lot of our rights are under attack. We have reproductive rights for people who are constantly at threat, and who our bodies are constantly in the court. And it's so important for us to be moving forward. We can't be moving backward. We have we have done a lot of great progress, and it's truly so important, like I said, to use that vote. It is a form of privilege, and to really go out and make sure that your voice is being heard.
What you gonna say? So look, I'm listening. I let much respect BLM people across the country and the world. There's levels of like I remember you even with Casa with DACA, so your voice is being heard. I honor you, young queen. You know what I mean? So there's a level of like one, y'all kind of talked about it a little bit, and I was taking a little bit of notes as far as why vote. I let you sharing, but then even Anita, when you talk about the voter suppression 2020, you kind of talked about your how as far as you organize it. And then Dre, when you talk about, as far as being in school, the misinformation and even trying, I'm listening. And even B with the family, as far as like the stigma and you going back and telling your family your place of proximity, Brian, in a way where like you start with those who are close to you and really kind of understand. So we talked about the why, but I want to kind of get any more of the details around the how, like, as far as what would that look like as you educate others, as far as like how do you be the example? You know what I mean? I felt like each one of you kind of talked to it, but I want you to pinpoint it because you have some young folks, and even the group, the demographic I serve, 16 to 24, 32, 24 to 32 with the Aspen Institute Forum Fam. But as the president of the NAACP in York County, like the life that you live, like what does that look like on a day-to-day round, encouraging people how to vote?
So as far as how, just to touch back onto what I said earlier, I've always been told, and like I said, that that one statistic kind of stuck in my head for years. I can't even remember what grade I was told that statistic in, but how I would say, I guess, giving them the reverse information. So nowadays, like when you're on Snapchat, TikTok, and you're going through, you see ads. So nowadays, you're kind of pushing, getting the younger people to vote. But as far as my how, I would say just kind of reinstilling the opposite. So there's still a lot of stigma, poor propaganda about our vote not mattering. But just as I said earlier, as much as that vote I guess, wouldn't matter in a place like where you live, where I live, where Arlette lives. I'm sure Anaya, Texas is one of those big high states too. But as far as our state, if our states were just on the same page, literally the rest of the states can disagree with us and we would still have the candidate that we want just because our state matters so much to them. You know what I mean? I don't exactly remember what it is. I can get back to you on what it is, but I believe the top 7 states have enough electoral votes for the remaining 43. You know what I mean? So if the top 7 states were all on the same page, the rest of the entire country can disagree. And that top 7 states, I believe we are like the top 5. So here in Pennsylvania, our vote matters. No matter what anyone says, if you're a Pennsylvania resident, your vote matters. I mean, other states too, but definitely Pennsylvania, California, Florida, New York. I think the other one is like Georgia, like those states. If you live in those states, you should vote every time, not just every 4 years for a president. I'm talking about for Senate. I'm talking about for your judge. I'm talking about for your district attorney. You should be voting every time you can vote if you are in those states. Outside of those states too, but especially in those states.
Ah, Dre, I love you. And look in there, she got you on the chat too with the love. Like, here's some statistics to back you up, back us up. Yes, and I even appreciate local politics start local. There's an election cycle every year. So thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else want to speak to the how? I know y'all kind of hit it earlier here and there, but I
Yeah.
would love. Yes, go do your
So
thing.
I put in the chat, I think another thing that kind of makes hesitancy for young people voting is that they don't feel very informed. Like the first time I tried to vote at the last election, it was like I was probably 18 at the time. Yeah, 4 years ago. And I went up there and I did not know you had to register to vote. Like I don't know why that didn't occur to me. So I get up there and I'm so ready to use, my voice. And they're like, girl, you're not registered. And I was like, what that mean? I live here. And so they're like, no, but I got a job. I worked the ballots that year, and that was fun. So it was a good little redirect, and I learned a lot about the system in that interesting experience. But I just didn't know that, and most people wouldn't know that. You just think, oh, okay, I go up here, I show that I'm a citizen, and they let me vote. But it's a little more interesting than that. And so my friend Angelica, which you've met Jamil, Angelica put this together on her Instagram, and I like screenshot it. 'Cause I was like, girl, I need everyone to see this. But she just put to see like for Texas, if you're registered, there's a link to see if you're registered. There's a link to register to vote. There's a link to talk about why your vote matters. It talks about important. There's one that like outlines important policies. I think like it just makes it easy and accessible for young people who are just wondering like how to vote, where to start. They don't understand that policy language because it's purposely confusing. Any way that you can make it plain to people would be awesome. So like if you're a political science major or a criminal major or somebody who works in that area, and if someone has a question or like even have like an open form on your Instagram, just be like, hey, ask me a question about whatever and answer the best you can. You ain't got to really be an expert because you're not supposed to be an expert to vote on policies. They're supposed to make it so that every man can vote and have decisions on what's going on. That's what democracy is. And so as much as you can make it plain to people in your community, I think that makes it a lot easier to vote and feel confident in doing it.
This is what democracy looks like. Ah, ah. Be what? Anything? Oh, we shaking the bacon. Oh, I love y'all.
To answer your question, I think that the change also does come from conversations like these. These are so important conversations, and I think that since I don't have the ability to vote, I do have the ability and like the accessibility to be able to join conversations like these and to make sure that my voice is being heard, and that's a really good step that we're taking. And I think that another way that I am living, that I am like living through enacting like my existence is just like I said, living through and being true to who I am and my existence here. Your college is a PWI. I am a criminal justice major, a white male dominated major. I am not scared to talk about my existence. Oftentimes in my classes, my professors are talking about immigration and often use the word illegal. And I am quick to raise my hand and correct my professors and to correct people around me because it starts locally as well. It's really important to make sure that we're fighting in our local communities and to make sure that we are, like I said, using our voice. And I do that very often. I'm not scared to do it. And I think it's really important to make sure that our voices are being heard even at a local level and in our communities that we are a part of.
I feel like I'm y'all DJ. I'm the soundtrack. I ain't never scared. And Arlette, you do it so eloquently and articulate. So thank you. Oh, look, that was meant for the most part. B, también, you good? Anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to what all of you guys have really touched on everything. Arlette, I love how confident you can, how you are in classes. Like, I think that's really important to have like that confidence to stand up to like people who are older than you. I think being a young person, it can be a little bit intimidating talking to people with power. But like at the end of the day, you just gotta see them for who they are, and like if they're wrong, they're wrong. And I like how you just speak up and say how and you're very articulate with what you are trying to get across too. So I think Ania, to your friend, like social media is like the most lucrative way to like get information around. So like in Minneapolis, I think we have a lot of eyes on this state because Tim Walz is running for vice president. So we've been with Youth Prize, we've been planning for months for an event that we're having like next month. Wait, it's October already. Ooh. It's this month, y'all. It's this month. We have an event this month to like really just not make it so formal because there's so much information to like get out there, but we want to make it like more of a comfortable thing because I think nowadays people get bored easily. We have short attention spans, so like we don't want to like just stand on stage and talk about excuse me, why you should vote, so we have like high school students there, even though they might not be old enough, but they can get involved with community because community is our power. That's like where we really will win when the community is together and working together as a team. So I think that's like the real answer. Community. I'll always say community. So yeah.
Look, that's the how. Shoot, Tim Walz, look, I already said it. And I appreciate the fact that one, look, I might have to take that trip. So if you send it to me, I'll get the form fam to hopefully make your way. Right. And so for the most part, we went to the why, we went to the how, and we're literally under half an hour because I wanted to make this sweet, short, but at the same time informative. And you all, I appreciate you all as experts, as professionals, and thank you all for speaking up and speaking out. So we will be recording this, but then at the same time, one last little nugget, any jewel, what I mean, to kind of wrap up, close this out. And I appreciate Derek being here, who is our cons with the NAACP. So we will put this on our website and push it out. I do apologize to those who may have, I'm giving y'all time enough to kind of get the final thought. Those who may have missed it because of the Zoom malfunctioning, put that on your brother. Still love me though. But Microsoft's teams came through and we will be sharing it. Last thoughts, words of wisdom. Muchas gracias. Talk to me, youngin.
I think any last thing I would probably want to say is that like this thing may seem overwhelming if you're doing it by yourself, but that's why you have a community. Like I think even like sister over here who organized those BLM protests, like that's amazing. And the reason why it was so impactful and amazing, I as sad as that time was, it was also beautiful to see so many different communities coming together, seeing Native communities, Black communities, Hispanic, Asian coming together over one cause because we just care for each other. And I think that that's what democracy is. It's a true community. It's us just working together to make the best place for each other. And so don't lose that aspect. That's the backbone of it. That's the backbone of a healthy democracy. And so within your journey of just, you ain't even got to be a huge advocate. You ain't got to do any of this. You just, in your own way, how can you create community? How can you be community for somebody else? How can you help somebody else when they're going through something? How can you kind of, hey, you ain't got a lot of food right now, but hey, I got a little extra ramen. I can pass it over to you. Like it's so simple, but I think we overthink organizing. Organizing is not always making something huge, but it's just being community to the people around you because that's what we need. And I think that's the bridge over some of these inequities. There's so many pitfalls that we can fall into because if we don't have enough money, if we don't have enough power, if we don't have enough influence. But if you just have somebody right there to kind of just push you back up, it makes it so much easier. So I think that's the most political thing you can do is just be community.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's something that I live through as well right now. My roommate, she's a historian, a history major, and she uplifts me with history, and I lift her with like the social justice things that I do. I have a friend who's an artist, a fine arts major, uplifting our artists, our local artists, especially our BIPOC artists, and making sure that their art is being seen. And then I have another friend who is an educator and working towards that and making sure that we uplift our educators. So it really is just about our community, and like we are the only ones who will have each other's back. At the end of the day, politicians don't care about us, so it's really important to stick with each other and make sure that we do pressure these politicians that we are voting for. So I agree, community is so big, and like as well, like resources that are in our community. Like my activism began with a local organization named Casa that fights for immigrant rights. So looking for those resources that are there and making sure that we use them because they're there for a reason.
I just will say, kind of sway away from what the social norm is. A lot of times people get kind of complacent and everyone wants to vote for Trump or everyone wants to vote for Kamala Harris, and then people kind of lose their own voice. So I think the most important thing is to first educate yourself. If you're educating yourself, you can educate other people. Just the same way I tell people all the time, like you can't love someone if you don't love your own self. You know what I mean? So you definitely gotta educate yourself. Know what you want and what you're looking for first, and then start helping other people out. There's a lot of people out here right now, especially in our generation, who don't know what to vote for, or they see something on TikTok. Oh, uh, Kamala, the borders are let all these people in, and they murdered all these people. That's the commercial I see every single day about how all these people came in and apparently they got murdered under her watch. And then the same thing about how Trump and all that. It's all propaganda. They're all just trying to teach you or convince you to vote for what they want you to vote for, and just get you out of your own mindset and get into their mindset. We all need to be our own individuals. We all need to be informed as much as we can. And I would definitely implore people, don't just use Google. Actually look at what these people do. You know what I mean? actually take a actually take a look at what these people do and what they actually say, rather than just going off of what TV or TikTok told you. You know what I mean?
I really don't have much to say. Y'all covered everything. Ania, that reminded me. I think it's like kind of full circle for me. I went to a NAACP meeting. I think like last year, and the president was talking about like it doesn't matter what kind of power you have. We all have our own power. Like what you bring to the table. Like we all have our own things that we bring to the table. So I think that was power in that. So I think that's really cool that you said that. Um, but yeah, definitely think for yourselves. Like even like working with Youth Pride, sometimes we have our debates. Like, who are you going for? Who are you going for? You know, like you have to have your own, like your own like. Um, I can't think of the word, but like, please think for yourselves. Like, you know, there's so much information, so much propaganda out there. Like, you know, yeah, which makes it harder to like choose.
Mm, I love you. Look, and the way you brought it back full circle with the NAACP, I can't make this stuff up. Like, you know what I mean? I appreciate you. And the song that I was trying to play on Zoom that wasn't coming through is My Power. You can't take my power, my power. So to bring it back full circle and close this out, thank you all. You know what I mean? Because there's a level of knowledge of self internally looking that I heard with these last minutes, words of wisdom from you all, but then there's a level of like, even as you understand your values and your issues, there's a level of community from learning from each other and supporting, uplifting others as well. You know, and there's an inside out approach in a way where like I'm moving to I am because we are. So you all continue to do the right thing. I'll see you all online. And I appreciate Brother Derek. Look, he said disinform, distraction, and detract. So we'll push this out on our socials, on the website, and I'll be in touch within the next 24 hours as far as follow through with the Fantastic Four. We'll check it out soon. Have a good one, y'all. Much respect.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Bye.
Thank you. Good to meet you.